Hey there, everyone. Today, I want to talk about what my thoughts are. I don't want to necessarily say predictions, but what my thoughts are as far as how 2023 is going to unfold. I was going to do this as a live video, and I figured I'd just sit here and record this today because I'm thinking about it, kind of brainstorming, and I'd like to get your guys' thoughts on all of this, where you see things, what types of things could we see that unfold coming in 2023. The last couple of years, it's just seemed like it's been just one thing after another, chaos, and it seems like at some point it's got to calm down. But I don't see that happening whatsoever. What I see is some of the stuff that we've seen happen, minus the pandemic, but some of the stuff that we've seen happen, kind of building blocks on stuff that's going to unfold this year or beyond that. And I'm just trying to kind of, hypothesize, I suppose, about what some of those things might be. Just over the course of the last year, after, the pandemic sort of started to wind down and we started to breathe a little bit, then you've got the Afghanistan thing. Then you've got the Ukraine thing. We've had the border issue, the immigration issue all year long, and that is something that we're going to see the ramifications of in 2023, and that's what I mean by all this. What are we, what are they setting up basically that we're going to see in 2023? In 2022, like I said, just a whole lot of things on top of all the other stuff. In 2021, the pandemic was basically all consuming. That's all everybody thought about because that was the big issue. And then we saw the ramifications of that as well, as far as the financial stuff, all the money getting spent. We're going through an economy right now that just completely sucks. And I think a big part of that was because of the pandemic and the money that was spent. And it's not like they're stopping the spending. They just put through a $1.7 trillion bill, a nonsense bill. They're on a daily basis, they're throwing billions of dollars over at Ukraine. So that is something I think is a major concern for me going into 2023 as well, is how does that change stuff? Because I used to think for the longest time in preparedness, like I just did a video talking about how I've changed in preparedness. I used to think that at some point, back when the national debt was like $7 or $8 trillion, I used to think at some point something's got to come to a head. Something's got to give because they can't just completely go on and on with this stuff. Nowadays, I'm not so sure that they're not trying to do something intentionally to change the whole financial system altogether. I think that this year, we're going to see a lot. We've been talking about digital currency for some time now, but I think this coming year, we're going to see a lot about the digital dollar starting to get blended into the whole financial system. Getting rid of the dollar altogether. And Brian's talked about a couple of times too, the modern monetary theory, where they're changing the definitions and changing what the national debt actually is. They can basically spend as much as they want and go as high as they want. And when it all crashes down, countries have done this in the past where they have to completely change the monetary system of their country. And I think that's something we're going to see coming up in 2023 is at least going that direction. Maybe not fully implemented, but I think they're at least going to be going in that direction of putting through the digital dollar, which brings up a whole litany of other things that come with that, as far as the tracking and understanding exactly what you're spending your money on and all the different things you're doing, and being able to almost down to the penny be able to take exactly what taxes they are quote unquote owed. That way they can continue to spend more money and more money. So I think that is a big issue for me coming up in 2023, is how that starts to get rolled out, because that is something that is an eventuality. That is not something that could be or might not be implemented. That is something that eventually is going to get implemented, and we need to figure out our game plan as that goes on. how we're going to continue to do the things that we do and what we need to do to kind of separate as much as we can or as much as we need to from that financial system. Who knows what all of that means? Could mean crypto, could mean, how long does cash actually stay in circulation before they decide to get rid of cash altogether? How long until stores don't take cash anymore? I don't think that happens in 2023, but that's not far down the line either. As far as the economy and all the things that we're seeing right now, you see some things that it seems as though it's getting a little bit better. I know gas prices are going down. You hear talk about how the inflation isn't all that bad, or I guess what they're saying is it didn't get as bad as we thought it was going to get, so it's good, right? When in reality, it still sucks. I'm still seeing high prices at the grocery store. I'm still, my energy prices are still through the roof. So just because they say these things, maybe for these people that invest in the stock market, maybe for these elites that, could care less about some of this stuff, it really doesn't impact them that much. For me, it's still impacting me. So I'm not seeing on a personal level, I'm not seeing this stuff that's going in this positive direction like they're all saying that it is, or like they're seeing. So the verdict is still out basically for that. But I am a little bit less concerned going into 2023 how that turns out. That being said, I'm still concerned because I don't want to be that person that just says, oh, it's going in the right direction, everything's fine, and all of a sudden everything just blows up. That is not my personality. That doesn't jive with the prepper in me, right? So it still concerns me. It's going to concern me probably till the day I die, because of the way that these people just kind of manipulate things and game the system and cheat the system and all these. Eventually, something's got to happen with this monetary system, regardless whether they go to the digital coin, regardless of what they do. Eventually, something's got to happen with all of this stuff. So it is something that since the day one of my prepping journey, it's been the national debt, the financial stuff has always been a big issue for me. It's just that nowadays, I'm not so sure if it means a complete total collapse or if it means a complete change in the financial system, which disrupts things for a period of time, or what all of this stuff means, or just a complete crumbling of everything and a complete rebuild. I'm baffled these days because they continue to kick the can down the road. They continue to change the rules. And what are they going to do to maintain their power? Because that is the ultimate goal, is maintaining their power and doing whatever they deem necessary to maintain that power. And kind of on that is another concern going into 2023, although not as much, not as much as it was before, but it's still a major concern because things like that, the civil unrest, the people that are already pissed off at the government and the things that they're doing, those things tend to happen real quick, and those could happen at any moment. So that is something that I still am concerned about. It seems as though, this whole January 6th fiasco and Trump and all that stuff, it seems as though, and I could be completely wrong on this, that is it. The election, going into the election is not going to be as insane and crazy, and they're not going to be doing just the insane cheating and lying and all the things that they've been doing that they did a couple years ago. I don't know if it's going to go down like that again, but again, they never cease to amaze me, and they never cease to surprise me at some of the things that they'll do and not give a second thought about, especially this administration. It never ceases to surprise me, some of the things that'll happen. So again, that is a concern of mine going into 2023 and even 2024 past that with the election and all that, is how all of that stuff goes down. And are people going to maintain their anger at the way the government is run? People are, unfortunately, people are, they have short memory spans, I suppose. So if things just calm down, then they'll just let the people on top do what the hell they want to do. As long as their lives are okay, then everything goes to status quo until it gets really bad again, and then people get pissed off again, and then it goes back down. So we'll see where all of that flows this coming year. As far as being as bad as the last 2 years, I'm really hesitant to say that it can't get any worse, because it constantly gets worse with all of this stuff. So I'm just kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop. What's next on this whole thing? What are they going to do? What is going to happen that is going to take 2023 and turn it into just an extension, volume 3 of the last couple years? And you know, like I said in the last video too, nothing is getting better. It's not like, you know, maybe socially there's some things that are getting better, but as far as this country and the laws and all the things that are going on, nothing is getting better. So it's just a matter of how long does it take until we fall over that cliff. I mean, that's basically my thought process on this whole thing. I don't think it's this coming year, but I think this coming year could have a lot of the building blocks for that happening. And again, like I said in the beginning, I think this coming year, we're going to see a lot of things unfold. Some of the things that happened this year are sort of the catalyst for some things that are going to happen in 2023. I don't know exactly what those are. I know Ukraine probably plays a huge role in that whole thing. Just like, you know, when the war actually started and our involvement, we didn't think it was going to last that long. And I'm talking us as civilians, as people, as media personalities, whatever. Didn't think it was going to last that long. We thought they were going to get their butts kicked. But the people in power, the people that have, you know, a lot of money, charisma, all that stuff, right? Those people knew that they probably couldn't afford, and this is my opinion, they probably couldn't afford to let Ukraine fold and collapse. So you're seeing all of this stuff happen. And I think in 2023, we're going to see other things happen. I've already seen Zelensky's talking to the World Economic Forum. Fantastic, right? And it makes complete sense. Why wouldn't he? That's another direction. That's another thing in 2023 I'm going to be looking at, is how much the policies that the World Economic Forum swears by, and the policies that all these liberal politicians and governments across the globe put together that are basically in line with the World Economic Forum, how much that agenda gets pushed forward as well, because that right there changes what America is. It already has, and that's just going to make it even more so. Right now, the United States is the only thing standing in the way of them fully implementing it Canada style on the United States. So that is my concern in 2023, and it's also a concern moving way beyond that, because I don't see that changing. I think it's going that direction, and unless something pushes against it and stops it, that's the direction it's going to go. See all the misinformation stuff and all those different things, trying to silence the thought of people. You know, you need to express the same narrative as the mainstream, or you're on the outskirts. You're one of those castaways, or you need to be one of those castaways. So that whole system, I think, that we're sort of fighting against right now is just going to get worse and worse and worse. I don't see big tech or any of these people stepping up and saying that enough is enough. There are a few voices out there doing that, but not nearly enough. So, and it's unfortunate that we're in a situation like that, where it does seem like the only way out of this is the hard way. That there is not there's not enough common sense out there that is basically saying, hey, you know what? We're going a little bit too overboard with all of this stuff. Drag shows and reading to little kids and all that. Maybe that's a little bit too far. There's none of that out there. And that is concerning to me, that people don't see it, and they're not going to see it until it's too late. And again, I don't think all of this happens in 2023. I don't think it's impossible either, but I don't see it all happening next year. But this is the direction I see things going. And I don't know You can fight against it, you can prepare for it, but I don't know that there's any stopping it other than a complete meltdown of society, of just everything just going to crap. So again, why I prepare and why I do all of these things. So hopefully 2023 gives us a little breather and helps us get back on, get our preps up to snuff and get everything back in line, and gives us a little bit of a kind of a lead into the next year. But I'm not holding my breath with all that because it just hasn't. It's been a crap show for so long. I just have no illusion that it's going to get better. If it does, great. We got a little bit of a breather, I suppose. But it's not going to be, something that lasts for a long time. At any rate, I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on all of this stuff. Where do you see things going? What sorts of false flags or, any conspiracies, anything like that going into 2023 that I hadn't talked about? That's just a few things that are kind of high on my radar right now that I'm watching out for. And honestly, things that I watch out for all the time anyway. But if you've got any thoughts, anything that I didn't talk about, leave them in the comments below. If you got any links to stories or cool stuff like that, let me know. But with that, hope you have a great year. Hope we all have a great year. And until the next video, we'll talk to you all later.